Welcome to Vertical Football, and this is the Blue Box. Yeah, this is a show where we talk all things Chelsea, and in this one, we want to do a review of Xabi Alonso being linked to Chelsea. So we are going to do it in 4 different phases. The first part we want to talk about his tactical approach and his philosophy. Then secondly, we talk about his character and the way he might lead the boys. And also we talk about how he fits into the Chelsea's way. And then lastly, we talk about the possible hiccups that he might face at the club. Yeah, so guys, thank you very much for sticking with us. This is brought to you by Vertical Football. So let's jump right into it and let's do this together. So firstly, let's talk about his philosophy and his style of play. We need to look at the way he wants to play football. Xabi Alonso's way that he plays football is very, very obvious. He goes with a blend of possession-based football and positional discipline. Yeah, so he wants to always have the ball, keep passing it around, and he speaks so much when you watch his interview about wanting to have possession of the ball, where he knows that when you have possession of the ball, you are in control of the game, and then you can disrupt the plan of the opponent by bouncing passes, combination all around. That makes them jump, and then they start to lose their shape, and then you can exploit the open spaces. So at the same time, as much as he wants to keep passing the ball around, he wants to make sure that his players are stationed in zones around the pitch. And I think you look at his background and then you can know where he learned that from. Playing in Spanish national team, playing under Guardiola, you know that, okay, this guy can pick up this kind of mindset, and I think he has been working for him, playing in Bayer Leverkusen and going through an unbeaten season in that place. Yeah, so let's look at and you know, to just speak a little bit about this kind of play. We have seen it under Enzo Maresca, and we know the loophole to this particular kind of system is that it becomes robotic. But when you look at Xabi Alonso, analyzing him, you find out that he tries to remove that robotic nature from the system by putting something that we call controlled unpredictability. And controlled unpredictability is, it deals with rotation. Like you kind of like make your players start moving around the pitch, but making sure that all zones are occupied. And we see that, I think the master of that in current time is Company. Company's system is all about player keep on moving around. But one thing that you find that if you pause Company's game and just make a pause in the game being played, you find that there is still a structure, but the personnel in each position have changed. The structure remains, but the personnel around have changed. You can see Harry Kane, who is the number 9. You can see him in the 6, and you see Kimmich, who is supposed to be the 6. You can see him in the centre back, and the centre back, who is supposed to be Upamecano, you can see him in the 9. But when you look at the structure holistically, you can find out that they are still in there like a 3-2-5 shape. So he's unpredictable, but he's controlled. To the opponents, they don't know what they are doing. Why are these guys moving around and doing all of these things? But to them, they are controlling it. The zones are still intact, but the players have changed. And I think Alonso also thrives in that kind of nature, though he does not do it all over the pitch. But you see in his build-up, sometimes he starts in the left centre back. In his 3 at the back, you see the left centre back, the right centre back, and the right back. When he's playing the ball around, you see nothing is moving on. You see his right back move to go and hold the width, and then the left back comes in to make the 3 at the back. He has changed, moved somebody up front, but the zones are still occupied. Sometimes you can see his inside forward shift to one side to form a net around one side where the ball is being played. So as much as he wants to have positional discipline, you still find out that sometimes it can be unpredictable, but in a controlled manner. And also let's look at how we defend, how we play, how we set up on the ball. He sets up in a 3-2-5. It's 3 center back. Sometimes if you start out with 3 center back, you have the left, you have the central center back, and the right center back. 2 pivots always there, and we saw it in Bayer Leverkusen thriving so much with somebody like Xhaka being the deep line playmaker and also the holding defender. And then you have Palacios being the central midfielder who goes up and come back to make sure there is balance wherever there is loose ball or carrying the ball up front. And you look at it in Real Madrid, you see one of the constants there is you always need to have a deep line playmaker, somebody who can help them build up. And you saw it, I think, he had issues with it with Tchouaméni, who was not really the best in passing the ball. So he had to like deploy somebody like Adagula to that position to be able to help him build up from the back. And sometimes he might just start with his two centre back going out wide, and then he bring that deep line playmaker into their midst to build up from there. So he's dynamic in the way he wants to build up, but you know that you always have the two pivots not being close, not being far from themselves. They can stand in an horizontal shape or in a vertical shape. And sometimes you have their wing. Sometimes one of the wing hold the line and the other one tucks in. Sometimes, and you see, sometimes even when he's playing, he overloads one side so that they can have switch of play. That's why you see somebody like Frimpong in Bayern Leverkusen thriving so much, because sometimes he's always isolated on one side and all he has to do is just beat his man, make crosses or do cutback or even find the goal by himself. And his ball is very, very intense. That's the way he plays on the ball. So off the ball, I think when you watch his game, he prioritizes defense. You see him like he defends in units. He defends when he's playing in the 3-4-2-1 formation. He defends with 5 at the back, 2 in the middle, and 3 up front. And his defensive approach is always passive in the sense that they just make sure to hold the shape and then they press with the right trigger. Most of the time when you watch him, his trigger is always with back passes. So when you are shifting the ball as the opponent, when you make a back pass, his player starts to jump, and most of the time they don't jump as individual, they jump in unit. When one guy makes that press, everybody follows, and I think that's something that I enjoy and I like very, very well. And also in his defensive part of the game, you see the game press kind of pass. Like I said, you see him form nets. So when he's in a 5-3-2, you see him, there's 3 up front, but those 3 are not that far from themselves, and 2 at the back, making sure they are holding the pivot of the opponent. They are formed in, and when the ball comes into that place, you see the quick counter press to make sure they get the ball. And when they get the ball, they don't just try to recycle, they want to go and do something with it. And also with his defense, you see that stats back it up. When you look at his passes per defensive action, and passes per defensive action means the amount of passes that an opponent makes before you get the ball. You see that it's very, very low in comparison to the elite managers. I think the only people that beat him in that metric is Kompany, Hansi Flick, and I think Guardiola. They are lesser, I think around 8 point something, 8.4 and maybe 9.1 or something. No, he is 9.1 and the others are 8 points. So you see that he wants to always have the ball, and when he's not having the ball, he's making move. His style is designed to make move to get the ball quickly. Yeah, so let's go into his character. Let's look at his character. Like we have always said, the character of the manager that is going to come into Chelsea is very, very important. It's something that we need to put into consideration. One of the things that baffles me for with Xabi Alonso is that he's quiet, and I try to like picture every possible scenario. Like, does that fit into what we need at this club? We need to be very, very honest with ourselves when it comes to character at the club. You have seen the wings that these guys are growing. Our players are beginning to become ego-driven player, which to some extent is good, because if their personality is good, you need that ego to be able to push them to want to achieve things and hold high standard to themselves. But the bad part is when power gets into their head, it becomes a very big problem. So if you are having a quiet manager in such an environment of players like that, I don't think that blend is good. I don't think that mix is good. So that's one of the things that worries me with Xabi Alonso. One of his advantages is his stature. When you look at his playing career and his managerial career, you look at him playing for Liverpool, playing for Real Madrid, playing for Bayern Munich, playing under the influence of Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Rafa Benitez, and even in Spain, playing under El de Bosque. I think he creates a persona in your mind. And looking at what he has gone on to achieve, winning Champions League in 2 different clubs, winning the league with Bayern, winning the World Cup, winning Euros with Spain. When you hear the name of that kind of a player, he creates like a persona in your mind, like, ooh, this is a winner. So I think he has an advantage in that. But his personality of being quiet, he bothers me. You need to be and that does not mean you need to be an iron fist, but you should not just be quiet, because you get to moments where you drop an information with players, with a particular player or with a group of players, and they don't want to do what you have said. Because you are quiet, you have the high tendency to want to shy away from it. But if you do that, you are making them grow more wings. To not give any answer is to consent. So when they do something and you shy away from it, it's almost like saying, I accept what you have done, and you don't want to be that. So, and given his track record at Real Madrid, you look at the caliber of player that he managed, and you saw that there were issues with it. So I don't want to be naive. I want to be very open and very honest with myself. Is character going to be able to handle what we are having and breeding in this dressing room at Chelsea? I think it's a question that we all need to ask ourselves. But these are I because that thing really it eats deep with me. So I know that when we talk about character at the club, it's less about football and more about personality. So I try to like make a list of what are the things that make people give their authority to the other person. So like in the sense that what are the things that helps you to command authority from the group that you are leading. So I brought out 6 things. And firstly, competence. Are you good at what you are doing? Are you good at this thing that you are leading us into? I think that thing majorly helps you to command authority from the boys. And we saw it with Enzo Maresca. Pedigree he does not have, but he's good at the job. Tactically, Enzo Maresca is sound, and that's it draws the boys to him. And I think he got their authority from that part of it. Secondly, pedigree. And I think Xabi Alonso is very fortunate with that. His career is good, player in his playing wise. Managerially, his career is good. Unbeaten at unbeaten at Bayern Leverkusen, winning the DFB Pokal. I think he had a good career. In Real Madrid, playing very well, getting good points. Just issues with the dressing room. But when you're looking at pedigree, what have you achieved? Being a World Cup winner as a player, being an Euro winner as a player, being the Champions League winner as a player, I think his pedigree is good enough, and that helps him to command authority. Integrity, I can't speak so much about that, but integrity is in the sense of how much do you stick with what you believe in? How fair are you? I hope you don't treat the 100 million player different from the 15 million player. Those kind of things help you to command authority from people around you. Emotional intelligence, very, very important. You don't use one size fits for all. You understand what the makeup of this one is. You understand what the makeup of this one is. You treat them individually and also collectively. That helps the other people to surrender themselves to you. And also decisiveness, very, very important. When you say yes, yes is yes. When you have not said no, you have not said no. You say something and you stick with it. That means you mean what you say and you say what you mean. When people are in that kind of an environment, they look at you and they can surrender themselves to you. And lastly, communication. You want to pass something around, you are passing what you mean by what you mean. You're not using too much of word to pass what you mean, to the extent that you start distorting the information in their mind. So I think when they have this group of things, or when the person has this group of things, it helps them to command the authority of the person. And I think competence, and Xabi Alonso passed, pedigree, he passed, decisiveness. You look at what he has done in Bayern Leverkusen, and communication. I think his English is fluent. When you watch his press conferences, where you watch his interviews, you find he communicates well. You look at his tactical side. When he's explaining tactics, he knows what he's doing. So I think he marks 4 boxes in this. So with that, I think he's character-wise is fit for it. Because when we say character, we don't necessarily mean iron fist. We mean, are you ticking the boxes for something that when they look at you, they can, this is a figure that we can trust to lead us. So I think for me, it ticks that box, but there are some things that we still need to look out for. So now let's look at how we fit into Chelsea. I think tactically, with the squad that we have, it's tailor-made for him. With some few changes, it's tailor-made for him. Xabi Alonso plays 3 at the back. Chelsea has always been playing 3 at the back, maybe aside the exclusion of Mauricio Pochettino, but from Porta to Maresca to Liam Rosinho, we have always played 3 at the back. So you look at the squad, when we say go and play 3 at the back, it's not new to them. They are not it's not a new water for them to test. Double pivot is something that we see in his team. It's something that when you come into the Chelsea's team, you find it there. Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo patterning well, and you can also have replacement Andre Santos. You can have Dario Esugo. You can have Romeo Lavia when he's fit. We have the dynamics to be able to play his double pivot for him, and one of his pivot has to be a deep line playmaker, which is something that you can put somebody like Enzo Fernandez into. You can put somebody like Moises Caicedo, who not the best compared to the level of Enzo Fernandez, but you can play Romeo Lavia, who plays it perfectly, and Andre Santos can play perfectly for you. Dario Esugo, there are some skepticism here and there about it, but we have the profile to be able to play his double pivot kind of system. Also, his wing back, Reece James has thrived under that system under Thomas Tuchel, given the versatility of Malo Gusto. I think it's something that he can also play also. And I think Pedro Neto also can play that kind of place. I might be worried a little bit about his defensive side of the game, but I think he can play as a wing back also. And the inclusion of Giovanni Coenda joining the squad in the next season, I think is good fit. You should be able to play on the left-hand side. And you can also play Cucurella on that side. You can play him. I think for a wing back, you have Cucurella. He understands how to hold the width. He understands how to go forward. He can play good crosses. He can play cut back. His defensive game is good when we are going to play as a 5 at the back, because Xabi Alonso's system, when you are playing in the 3-4-2, you are going to be defending with 5. So Cucurella can play on that space. I think Arthur also can also shift into that side also, not majorly there, because I think I would like to have him as the left center back, but he can play also on that place. So I think we have what it takes to have that place. The pivot, we are good to go. The wing back, I think we are good to go. Now, the inside forward is where I think we have a little bit of issue. Inside forward on the right-hand side, Kopama is good. Estevao is good. But on the left-hand side, because the system that we are playing now requires wide wingers, I think if you are looking at Xabi Alonso's system, inside forward is what he needs, and Jamie Gittins and Garnacho might not get an opportunity to be able to play on that part. Maybe we'll even be improvising and playing somebody like Cucurella in that way, or even Enzo Fernandez to play on that side so that you can accommodate somebody like Andre Santos in the back line or Romeo Lavia. So I think that's one of the places that we need to strengthen, to bring somebody who is tailor-made for that position if we are bringing Xabi Alonso into the club. And also for the striking position, Joao Pedro is good to go. But in my book, I think given the style that Xabi Alonso play, I think I'll preferably have Nicolas Jackson in my squad than have Liam Delap as the backup. Because if you are looking at Xabi Alonso's game, there's transition in his game, there's game pressing in his game. And if you look at Nicolas Jackson is perfectly fit for a transitional gameplay, and when you say somebody should press, I think Nicolas Jackson pressing is a very effective kind of press compared to Liam Delap. So I would preferably want a Nicolas Jackson if Xabi Alonso comes into the team than having Liam Delap there. So let's look at things that are not really so good in the way Xabi Alonso plays if he wants to join Chelsea. I think less crosses. Crosses are one of the things that is becoming the constant in the Premier League. It's something that people are thriving on. It's something that Chelsea also thrive on. We are scoring corners. We are scoring balls from set plays. We are scoring a lot of goals when it comes to set piece and area balls in the box. But you look at Xabi Alonso's system, he does not play that kind of football. He plays less crosses, way less crosses in his game. You don't see the ball flying around, going into the box. And if you are looking at the reality of what the Premier League is turning into, the directness of the game, you need to be adding that thing into your arsenal. You need to be adding that thing into the facets of your game. As you are good tactically and playing your intricate passes, you are playing your bounce passes, combinations, you are playing combining passes, trying to break through the middle and doing all of those cutback and square. You need to be adding long balls into your game for the directness of the game. You need to be adding crosses, and You're looking at somebody like Pedro Neto who has strived so much on playing far out wide crosses, looking for the late runners and all of those kind of things. That those things will disappear when Xabi Alonso comes into the game. And if you are looking at the way Premier League is going, you need to be adding those things into the facets of your game. So I think those are one of the things that I think we will not see in the Chelsea's game anymore. And maybe we might struggle, maybe we might not struggle with it. Let's see, because the place that the Premier League is shifting towards, everybody's trying to add directness into their game. And another thing is time. When it comes into the club, though we know that we have the baseline for his kind of system, but the point is when everybody comes in, they take time to get up and running. I pray or I hope he gets his thing right. Eventually, if Chelsea signs him, I hope he gets running quickly so that the pressure will not be too much on him. But we have to give this guy time. We definitely have to give him time. And also from the board's perspective, I don't want too much interference. I think he's a detail-oriented coach. He wants to touch every aspect of his game. He wants to pay attention to every details of his game. So you don't want to be interfering in that kind of people. You are going to be distorting what you are doing. You are going to be, and I hope we don't get into a situation like what Amorim found himself under Manchester United, where one part of the body saying he should play in the 4-2, when one part of the body saying he should go to a back four, he should put everybody in a positional play, they should play in their wing. Allow the manager do what he does. You analyzed him, you did all of these things so that you can bring him into the club. When he comes into the club, please don't interfere in his game. Allow him take his time and play what he needs to play. Though he also will know, because of the caliber of the club, that he needs to deliver quickly, but at the same time, he needs time to build his system to be able to get to a place where everybody is on autopilot and they are working automatically in the system. So I'm urging the board to not interfere too much if you eventually bring this guy into the team. And also fans, I don't know what to say about the fans. Patience is all we can speak about. And lastly, let's talk about the expectations. When we bring this guy into the club, what is the expectation? For me, I think it will be realistic if we keep this squad, not lose our best player, and add the right additions, which is the centre backs, the left wingers, maybe add a midfield and add one striker who can put João Pedro up on his game, and add a goalkeeper who can put Sanchez up on his game. If we can add the right profile and keep our best player, I think going for the league is a possibility, because we have gelled for 4 years, for 4 seasons. You can't be in 4 seasons and all you want to chase is top 4. If we are saying our problem is not having experienced guys, so if we add experienced guys to the particular squad that we have, going for the league is a possibility. It is not an overestimation of the squad. I think it's a realistic expectation. So even if we don't go on to win it, at least top 2, top 3 should be something we should be able to achieve. And also, we should be able to fight for a domestic competition. Either win the FA Cup or win the Carabao Cup, or maybe we are going to play in Europe. Maybe if we win the FA Cup or find a way to get into conference or Europa League, we should be able to win any of the domestic competition that we are competing for. So I think the expectation should be clear. Top 4. I'm tired of us fighting for top 4. Go and change for the league. You have done the process thing for 4 years. Sign the right mind of players and then sign the manager that you actually need. So I think the expectation should be go for the league. And if you cannot make the league, top 2, top 3 shows that you are in contention for it. And then go for also the domestic. Keep winning something so that you keep that drive and the mindset alive that this club is still winning things and you can also go on to win them. So I'll stop there. This is my preview about Xabi Alonso joining Chelsea. We have looked at his tactical approach, his philosophy. We have looked at his character and how they fit into what Chelsea need. We have looked at how he fits into Chelsea tactically, and also we are looking at the possible hiccups that he might face coming into Chelsea. So guys, what are the things that you see about this guy? Do you want him in the club? Please put it in the comment section and let's discuss about it. This is brought to you by Vertical Football, and this is the Blue Box, a show where we talk all things Chelsea. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done that. Till we see you some other time. Namaste.